LiVEJAM.
Hi, I'm Dustin Cassidy. I'm coming to you live from LiVEJAM School of Music in Tokyo. I teach the drums here, and starting today I'm going to be doing a series of really short videos that highlight a few really basic concepts on the drum set for you to try out at home. I hope you enjoy. Thanks. I endorse what's called a floating heel method of playing. Some drummers play with the heel planted down on the heel plate. This is the heel plate here. Some of them have their foot down the entire time. And this works really well for low volume playing, like in jazz or any quiet section of a song. I usually play with the heel sort of floating above. Some, especially heavy metal drummers, will have their heel up, really far up, and they'll be sitting very high. I like to have my knees at about a 90-degree angle. If I'm playing a lot of double kick, I'll have them maybe a little wider at about 100 degrees or so. But for most purposes, 90% or more of the time, I'm playing with my heel just floating barely above the heel plate, and I play the bass drum with my entire foot. It looks like this. When I lift, the heel comes up first, and then it pushes through to create a whipping motion. Another thing you'll notice is the beater is bouncing off the head and returning back. Now, it doesn't have to come back all the way, but it should bounce off the bass drum head and come back. A lot of people like to bury it into the kick, and when you have a lot of muffling in a bass drum, especially if you're playing rock and you're playing on a basic kit like this, it doesn't make a huge difference in sound. But if you're playing jazz and you're playing on a small bebop-sized bass drum that has more of a timpani type sound to it, a little more resonance, you're going to hear a big difference. It's like the difference between hitting a tone like this and hitting a tone like this. You're disturbing the sound, you're not letting it resonate, you're choking the drum. Another reason to let the beater bounce off would be to not create more work for yourself. If you have it constantly buried into the head by default, every time you want to go and hit the bass drum, you have to take two actions. You have to take it off the head and then push it back in. It creates a 1-2 action that's going to slow you down at faster tempos. You're also going to get a lot more flow by bouncing off by default when you're playing faster patterns. Like that. Also, you're playing with your entire leg, like I said, and you should feel on your leg here that you're using your hip flexor muscle. It should be going off. You should feel this muscle going off. There's also a moment when I come up to the top where the toes just barely come out of contact with the foot pedal, with the footboard, and then come back down. And you catch the pedal as it comes back up, like that. You get this kind of action. I hope that's been helpful. Thanks for joining us.